Hey YouTube, we're out here at the goat pasture. We're rolling up some fence this morning, and I thought I'd try to show you a few of the tips and tricks I have for doing it the way that I do it. So anyhow, we're getting started here. We've just got a little section of fence we're gonna roll up. I always start down here with my Zammer handles. This one's just hooked off at the end of a run here, and I get that off and I untie it. So because I run two strands on my fences because we're running goats here. Um, when I roll two strands of them up, two strands of poly wire up, it helps me a lot to not have these handles hanging on there. A lot of times they'll wrap around each other as they go along the ground, or get caught on the other strand of poly wire. So I find it easy to untie them and then retie them. I just tie a little simple slip knot in there around that handle, and it makes taking it off not as big of a chore. All right, you can kind of see I started taking this H brace down. Usually that string will be tighter, but that's my simple H brace. You can see another one I've got over there. That's to me the most efficient way to build these. Just got a loop on both ends of that piece of rope there, and one figure eights around the top of one post, and then the spike in the bottom of the other post is what's holding it down to the ground. So that's a pretty simple and efficient way. Got keep a bunch of those here in my four-wheeler, just kind of draped on here. You can see the loop I have on one end, and then a little bigger loop on the other end. But anyhow, they just fit nicely on that four-wheeler there, and have access to them. So anyhow, I'm gonna maybe get this set up here, go down through here. I'm gonna pull these posts, I guess, first, and then when I get down to the other end with our reels, I'll show you how I roll up the reels. Okay, we'll see you in a second. Just got through picking up our post on that line of fence. Now we're back here to the end of the line with the reels. And before we start rolling up the reels, I wanted to show you kind of a tip I have for these posts. So I've got this box that's built big enough for these step-in posts to go into, and as I go along, I just put them in here. But before I start that process, I put a piece of rope down in the bottom of this box, two pieces of rope, one on each side, and I stack those posts on top of that rope. So when I get done, okay, I've got the ends of this rope sticking out here, and all I have to do is tie them together, both of those ends of rope, tie them together, okay, and then I've got a bundle of posts now. So that makes handling these things a lot easier. When we get done, or if you've got more to do, you just lift this bale of post up out of the box, okay, and set it on the ground, whatever, and then start you another one. And that makes it a lot easier then too when it's time to put fence back up. You just grab a bundle of posts, you set them down in here. Because you built the bundle inside the box, generally the bundle will fit in there. It would be better if your box was a little bit longer than necessary for the post, so you've got a little room for error, I think. Sometimes you have to kind of wiggle it in there, but by and large it's easy to sit in there. So that's one of the tips for handling. We've got to handle a lot of posts because we're out here putting up quarter, half, 3/4, sometimes even a mile of fence. It takes a lot of these step-in posts, more than I'd like to use, but that's the way it is. So anyhow, this just makes handling a lot of these posts easier. So I'm going to put you on the tripod here and get you set up, and I'll show you how I'm reeling up these reels of poly wire. Okay. First thing you have to do, hopefully it's in the screen here, but you've got to unhook your roll of poly wire. I use a small piece of rope to tie it onto two of these step-in posts. is kind of what I use for the end of my runs of wire. It just kind of makes them a little more solid for the next one to hang those reels off of. But just a simple piece of rope ran through the center of this reel, and we'll tie onto these posts here. With these reels, I pull the wire through. I pull the wire through one of our holes here, and then hitch it on to this handle they've got on here, and that makes it tight. It can't go anywhere now. If I need to adjust it, I can choose from these different circles to tighten it up, or if I really want just a real small change in tightness, I can loop it around those handles and get it tighter that way. All right, but on my drill mounted on my four-wheeler here, got a little bushing bearing here that allows this whole thing to spin around, and a piece of tin here. Here in a second I'll bring you guys in for a real close look. But anyhow, this reel just mounts on there onto this piece of tin here, and then got another one that comes in on the back side, threads onto that piece of all thread on there. I believe it's a 3/8 piece of all thread. Got another nut, ties it all together. Okay, I cinched that down tight. My cordless drill is set around 11 or 13 on the torque setting there. It's just chucked onto that piece of all thread. Wear a leather glove. I grab my poly wire to guide this onto this reel. And you kind of got to help it just a little bit at the beginning to get going, get started. But then after a little while, it gets to going on its own. So when I get done, then I'm going to tie my handle back onto it to store it. I like to double it around that piece of metal there, go around it once or twice. And then, like I say, I just tie a little slip knot down here. Makes for untying the handle a little easier. All right, wrap around there. Take that same piece of rope that I used to hold the reel up to keep this handle in place. Just run it through one of these holes in the sidewall of this reel and just tie it on there. Okay. So we just rolled up a 1/4 mile of poly wire, all right? If you're doing smaller runs in a single wire, a geared reel would probably be the way to go. But we're doing 2 strands and we're doing really long runs. So, for me, this is the more efficient way to do it, okay? So I'm going to sign off for now, and we'll see you here soon.